Welcome back to the Armchair Verdict, and welcome if it's your first time here. Now, today's video is going to be a ton of fun because I've taken on the difficult task of predicting every single result on what a lot of people are calling the best boxing card of all time. I'm going to start from the bottom and work my way all the way to the top. So stick around to the end of the video so you can hear my predictions for the main event and the co-main event. I think you might be a little bit surprised. First things first, I've been a boxing fan over 30 years, and this is by far the best boxing card I have ever seen in my life. It's no competition. I've never seen anything like it. Every fight on its own merit could be a headline on another boxing card. So let's get into it. First fight of the night, Joshua Buatsi versus Callum Smith. Now, if the day this fight had been announced a couple of years ago, I would have confidently picked Callum Smith. He would have been more experienced at that time, and I felt he would have had enough to get it done. Now, it's a lot more even. I think Buatsi has progressed a few levels. He's been in some good fights, which has helped his development, and it's a tough one to call. Callum Smith, when he won the World Boxing Super Series at super middleweight, felt like he was the man. He could have gone on to do great things. But my concerns with him is I can't remember the last time I remember him looking good in a meaningful fight. Off the top of my head, I would say it was probably against George Groves when he won that Super Series. And that was some years ago now. Since then, he's had a couple of losses against Canelo and Beterbiev. I'm not that worried about that. I mean, these guys are elite operators. That's what they do. No shame in losing to them. The thing that does concern me is when he had a homecoming fight against John Ryder in Liverpool, in a fight which he should have really won on paper. He did win a unanimous decision, but myself and many others that watched the fight felt like he got away with one that night, and it was a poor decision from the judges. So that is my concern, especially now, a few years on after a couple of losses. Hasn't really been that active. I'm just wondering how hungry he is, how much he has left, and what his motivation is for taking this fight. Is it money, or is it about wanting to be a world champion again? Is he still hungry? Does he have that desire to reach the mountaintop again? I'm not so sure. On his night, very dangerous fighter. Long reach, power in both hands, he can do damage. Solid fundamentals, but Joshua Buatsi, for me, I feel is younger, fresher. When we talk about Callum Smith reaching the mountaintop, Buatsi still wants to do that, and he has big ambitions, and he'll see Callum Smith as a huge stepping stone towards reaching those ambitions. There's every chance that Callum Smith could use his experience and sort of old man Joshua Buatsi a little bit and get the job done that way. But me, I'm picking a unanimous decision win for Joshua Buatsi. I feel like he'll just be fresher on the night, hungrier, and it will be a bit of a changing of the guard sort of thing in British boxing. So final pick, Joshua Buatsi decision. Second fight of the night, Zile the Big Bang Zhang versus Agit Caballero. This is a heavyweight banger. Two guys in the top sort of 5 or 6 of the heavyweight division, coming in with great form and some good wins behind them. This one I've been thinking about back and forth quite a bit, and there's a number of ways it can go. Zile Zhang, he's a big, powerful monster of a man. But when he hits people, they know about it. Caballero, a very good boxer as well, undefeated. It's a real tough one. I mean, Zhang, we've seen it. He's got power in both hands. He's dangerous in the early half of the fight, but he does fade in the second half of the fight. And that's where my concern for him comes. We've seen it against Joseph Parker where he scored the early knockdowns, and it looked like he was en route to an easy victory. Then things just slowed down and Parker was allowed to fight his way back into the fight and win. With Filip Hrgovic, he lost that fight. Again, I felt that he did enough to win that night, but the judges felt differently. A big part of that perhaps is because he slowed down a lot towards the end and allowed Hrgovic into the fight a little bit just to fight his way back in. I think it was when he fought Jerry Forrest as well. He slowed down majorly and was in a bad way by the end of that fight. So the stamina is a clear issue for Zhang. And against someone like Caballero, I think style-wise, it's not going to go too well for him. Caballero is a very good body puncher and has a lot of good lateral movement for a heavyweight. He moves around a lot, makes you work. For someone who's 40 years old, 41 years old, I believe Zile Zhang is, that's not what you want. You don't want a guy that's going to make you chase and go looking for him. You don't want someone who's going to be working your body early in the fight and taking the wind out of your sails. So that is going to be the difference for me. Zhang, there's every chance he could catch Caballero early in the fight and get him out of there. But I'm leaning towards Caballero systematically breaking down Zhang and winning a decision. So final pick, Agit Caballero by decision. Third fight of the night, Virgil Ortiz Jr. versus Israel Madrimov. This is, for me, this is going to be the fight of the night. I think this is the one that's going to steal the show and surprise a lot of people. Two very different styles. Virgil Ortiz is a come forward, aggressive, all action kind of fighter. I've never seen a boring Virgil Ortiz fight in my life. Israel Madrimov, he's, well schooled, very good Uzbekistan fighter. If you watch the Olympics last year in Paris, you'll see that the Uzbekistan fighters dominated the boxing. These guys coming from a very good amateur system, they're very well schooled, very good fundamentals, and have the ability to do damage. So it's a tough one. It's a clash of styles, very different, sort of a boxer versus puncher in a way. Although Ortiz does have very good fundamentals and is a very good boxer too. Madrimov was very impressive against Terence Crawford, lost a very competitive decision. Ortiz against Boachuk was in a bit of a firefight and made tougher work of it than people would expect. But this one, it's tough. It could go either way, and I'm not confident picking, if I'm totally honest. I can see strong arguments for both men winning, and if either one won, I wouldn't be hugely surprised. I'm going to lean slightly towards Virgil Ortiz, funnily enough. This might surprise a lot of people, because as I'm saying it, I can easily, in my head, I'm telling myself, why are you saying this? Because Madrimov can outbox him and break him easily. But I think the power of Ortiz is going to be the difference. I think you can see he carries thunder in his hands. And once he catches Madrimov, I think he's going to make Madrimov gun shy, and he's going to make Madrimov scared to engage a little bit and put him on the back foot. And you can see with Ortiz, he's dangerous from round 1 to round 12. So I can see him stealing a couple of rounds, and I can see Ortiz potentially scoring a knockdown or two and just squeaking out a very close decision. So final pick, Virgil Ortiz Jr. by decision. Now, the fourth fight of the night, this is the toughest one for me to pick personally. Middleweight, WBC middleweight title fight, Carlos Adames versus Hamza Shiraz. Carlos Adames, WBC world middleweight champion. Very good fighter, skilled, powerful, experienced. Hamza Shiraz is younger, and I've been very impressed with Shiraz. I've been fortunate enough to see his last 2 fights live. I was at the Liam Williams fight at the Copper Box, and I was at his fight against Tyler Denny on the Dubois Joshua undercard at Wembley in September. I was there for that too. And I've been very impressed. Also, his Amo Williams performance, I watched on the TV. Very impressed with that. I thought that was going to be a lot more even than it was. But Hamza sort of beat all of these guys comfortably. So I've liked what I've seen from him. I have to say, I remember when he fought Bradley Skeet a few years ago. I think he was at 154 at the time. I wasn't too impressed with him. There was a lot of hype around Hamza Shiraz, and I didn't really see it. In that fight, Bradley Skeet, he's a decent fighter, was having his way with Shiraz until Shiraz knocked him down and then caught Bradley Skeet while he was on the ground, and that sort of changed the tide of the fight. I just thought, I don't know about Hamza Shiraz, but since then, he's come on leaps and bounds and looked a top fighter. I don't know if this fight's too soon for him, but I think my head is saying Carlos Adames, my heart is saying Hamza Shiraz. It's really tough to call. Shiraz, he's got great reach, great power. I'm going to go for Hamza Shiraz. I don't say it with a great deal of confidence. I'd like Hamza Shiraz a lot. I've watched him a lot. As a Brit, I want to see him do well. Maybe I'm looking at this through rose-tinted glasses a little bit because I want him to win so much. But that isn't the entire reason I'm saying this, because I can definitely see a clear path to victory for him. He's got the tools, he's got the power 100% to beat Carlos Adames. So yeah, I'm going to say Hamza Shiraz, and I think he will win by decision. I think he's going to score a knockdown or two on the way, but Hamza Shiraz decision is the direction that I'm going in. Now, we was meant to have Shakur Stevenson versus Floyd Schofield. At the time of recording this video, as far as I'm aware, that fight has been cancelled. There has been talk about a replacement coming in for Floyd Schofield, who's pulled out through illness, to fight Shakur Stevenson. But at the time of recording, no official replacement has been announced, which is a shame because this was probably going to be the easiest fight for me to pick on the whole card. I was going to pick Shakur Stevenson to win comfortably. So no, it's just all tough picks today. So on to the next, which is another tough one. Daniel Dubois versus Joseph Parker. Heavyweight IBF world title fight. Now this one is as I'm going to prick this, you're probably going to see the cogs turning in my head because I've been going back and forth about this since it was announced. I mean, I woke up on Monday, I thought Dubois would win. On Tuesday, I thought Parker would win. I don't know. It's a tough one. There's strong arguments for both men winning this. I don't think either man winning it would surprise me at all. The only thing which would maybe surprise me in this fight is if Joseph Parker got an early stoppage against Dubois. That would surprise me because I think his route to victory is maybe a points decision or a late stoppage after breaking Daniel Dubois and sort of systematically breaking him down, getting him late. As far as an early stoppage, that would surprise me hugely. An early stoppage for Dubois wouldn't surprise me. I mean, the kid has power in both hands. He's a powerhouse. He can get you in the first round, he can get you in the 12th round, either way. And it's a tough one. Both guys have sort of, they're in the second parts of their career, I would say. Dubois, he was so young when he first burst on the scene, and I wasn't sure if he was going to make it to that level to be a world champion. When he lost to Joe Joyce, people were saying he quit. When he lost to Usyk, people were saying he quit. He fought against Kevin Lerena and didn't have the best performance. And he's fought a lot of people who were substandard, I would say, like Fujimoto and these kind of fighters. There was questions over the level of opposition and questions over his heart. But in the last couple of years, he's put all that to bed. I mean, since he lost to Usyk, he's looked like a completely different fighter. Whatever's Don Charles, his coach, is doing with him, it's worked. Philippe Hergovich, Jarrell Miller, Anthony Joshua, stopped all these guys. And those are 3 fights I probably would have picked him to lose. So this is a man in the zone now. It feels like it's all come together for Daniel Dubois, and he's in fine form. There are suggestions that he might be overlooking Joseph Parker. I would like to think that's not true. I mean, Joseph Parker is a good fighter. You can't overlook someone like that. And Don Charles, his coach, he's a disciplinarian. He's a sensible man. I don't think he will allow Daniel Dubois to overlook Joseph Parker. So I don't think that's the case. Parker is another one. He's only 31, but he's been around so long. It almost feels like he's in a second career right now. He was a world champion about, was it 7, 8 years ago? About that, before he lost the WBO to Anthony Joshua. And he's rebuilt since then, and here he is again now in a world title fight. And he's done it the right way. He's had bumps along the way. He lost to Joe Joyce, and we're thinking, is that going to be it for Parker at the top level? But he's rebuilt, got wins against Deontay Wilder, Zhilei Zhang, very good wins, and he's very deserving of this title shot. I can't think of anyone in the heavyweight division who's more deserving than Joseph Parker. So it's a tough one. As I said, I've been going back and forth, and I don't make this prediction with a lot of confidence, but I'm going to go for Daniel Dubois. I think the power is going to be too much. The size, the power, the physical presence of Dubois. And I think he's gonna get to Joseph Parker. I think he'll get him in the second half of the fight. It'll be late. And I think Parker's gonna have a good spell. But I believe Dubois will stop Joseph Parker in maybe about the 8th or 9th round. Again, it's just a feeling. I don't say it with much confidence. It's very possible that Parker can win this fight as well, but I'm not going to go back and forth. That's my final decision. Daniel Dubois by stoppage. The final fight, the main event, is even tougher to pick. I remember when this fight was first announced, the first time in October when they fought, and it was one of those where I was going back and forth again. Bivol, Beterbiev, which one? I remember me and my friends in the group chat, we said final predictions, and I did settle on Beterbiev to win. That was my final prediction before the fight. The fight was controversial. It was very close. I've watched it 2 or 3 times, and I scored it in favour of Beterbiev every time I watched it. A lot of people I know feel differently. Some people calling it a robbery. Some people are saying Bivol won. It was close, but they felt Bivol won. It's one of those fights that divided a lot of boxing fans. Boxing is subjective, and it was nip and tuck. There's arguments for both men winning. I personally preferred Beterbiev's work. I think he closed the fight stronger too, which helped him. But yeah, I think he did enough to win. I liked his ring generalship. I think he was landing cleaner shots. I think he was more active. And I think he did just enough to get the decision. If someone feels Bivol won, I don't have a problem with that. I can see why. It was very close. Not an issue. This time around, I'm actually going for Dimitry Bivol to win. I feel like there's a number of reasons. Beterbiev, I believe he's 40 years old now. So he's going to be slowing down a little bit. And it's a quick turnaround between fights. It's 5 months between the first fight and this fight. Beterbiev is someone who's always taken long breaks between his fights, or he gets injured in camps between and he takes long breaks. Because the way he trains, I've seen videos of him training, and it's very medieval, it's very hardcore. He doesn't mess around. And that must take a toll on the body. So you need a proper recovery, a proper camp to really get into gear and come to fight. I think the lack of a break between fights and his age will favour Dimitry Bivol, who's younger, fresher, and didn't really take too much damage in the first fight. And I think Bivol will learn from the first fight quite a bit. He'll know the improvements he needs to make. Like he closed the fight slowly. He slowed down a bit and allowed Beterbiev to take over the championship rounds. In certain rounds, he took periods off. He'll look back at that and think, yeah, I should have pushed a little bit more here, or I should have saved a bit of energy there. Finished. He'll know what he needs to do to win. So I'm going to go with Bivol to win this time. But final decision, Dimitry Bivol by decision. Again, I may be right, I may be wrong. It could go either way, but that's my final decision. So final picks for the card. Joshua Buatsi, Agit Kabayel, Hamza Shiraz, Daniel Dubois, and Dimitry Bivol. So people, I don't know, do you agree with my decisions? Do you disagree? Do you think that this is the best card you've ever seen too? Sound off in the comments. Let me know what you're thinking, who you're predicting. I want to hear what everyone feels about this card. I'm hearing it. I'm speaking to friends and we've been going off in the group chats, going back and forth. So you guys, let me know what you think. And I'm going to do another video after, a reaction video, which should be fun. I might have to eat humble pie a little bit because I'm probably going to get a few of these wrong. But yeah, I'll see you on that one. See you on the next one, and peace.